All right. The elevator music has concluded. Welcome, everybody, to our fifth demonstration of DinoAI. In a nutshell, DinoAI is the cursor for data that we at Paradigm have built within our code IDE that allows you to develop significantly faster across the board for you and your whole data team. My name is Parker Rogers, and I'm here with our two co-founders, Kaustav Mitra and Fabio Di Letta. And in today's call, Fabio is going to show us another fascinating feature of DinoAI. So, Kaustav, time's yours.
Awesome. Thanks, Parker. And thanks, everyone, for joining today. So in today's live stream, we wanted to double down on DinoAI tooling and DinoAI model control protocol servers. Now, what are these and why we are doing this? Now, one of the key features of DinoAI as it stands today is being able to provide context for data work. Now, context for data work, one part of that context for data work is your warehouse, so essentially the table schemas, comments, documentation that is embedded within your data warehouse. Now, with that in place, you are able to do a lot of SQL work. But SQL work or data work also has lots of other contexts that are distributed across various different softwares, various different applications, various different mediums. And in today's live stream, we are bringing a subset of those mediums into as context that you can use as part of your data work. So what does that mean? Let's say you want to, let's say you have, you are building a data model, but your requirements are in a PDF, or you are trying to solve, or you are trying to build, or you're trying to address an ad hoc request, and the request is in Jira, and so on and so forth. Or you are trying to get understanding of a new feature in dbt, but that information is sitting in the web. Now, what you'll see in today's demonstration or today's live stream is that we are able to tailor the way the AI experience works in the code IDE by giving DinoAI additional context outside of your warehouse. So this would mean that now you are able to bring information that would previously be in other different tools and softwares. And that means now the AI functionality now has broader knowledge and is able to produce even more hyper-relevant outcomes that we think is going to significantly accelerate the development experience. Now, model control protocols are like USB-Cs. People call it like the USB-C stick. So it is an unified um, specification through which you can bring various different information into your AI context. Now, within the Paradigm Code ID, we already have inbuilt MCPs around the warehouse, but we are also adding more MCPs inbuilt so that from a developer perspective, from an analytics engineer perspective, there is literally very minimal setup for you to do, and which means that you are able to get up and running much faster without having to manage infrastructure or having to manage tooling, etc. When we started Paradigm and how we have always built Paradigm, it's about the ease of use. It's about removing friction when it comes to development and infrastructure work. So we always want to give our end users a platform like the Mac OS for analytics. You open, go into DinoAI, go into the code ID. You have a system waiting for you to be used and to be exploited to its maximum, to be leveraged to its maximum, so that you can get your day-to-day work done. Now, one of the interesting challenges we have found in the process, or one of the surprises we've found in the process, is that um, AI is very good at producing relevant outcome when you give it the right context. And as you'll see in the live stream, Fabio is going to use a very real production scenario where you will go from running a data pipeline within Paradigm to actually fixing it as you kind of go along. Or you will learn a new way of doing things by leveraging what is available in the uh, by doing web search. And I'll leave Fabio with another one last surprise sort of functionality that we've also baked into the application that is going to make your DinoAI experience even more awesome. So I'm going to stop there, and Fabio, the show is all yours.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Costa. Super excited and great to see you all here. Yeah, so what I want to show today, as Costa mentioned, is a real world scenario where ultimately things happen and they have to be fixed. So pipeline can fail, we have errors. So how do we go about that? And when we talk about external context, additional information that we can provide to our agent, one of the tools that we started building on was around Jira, right? Like a source of truth for a lot of logging of issues and so on. So I'll go start with Bolt this time. So Bolt is our orchestrator. I'll go to my daily run, and I can see that there is one failure or one error. I can look at the console logs. So one thing that Paradigm support is the ability to fire webhook events so that we can create Jira ticket on the back of that. So if I go to Jira now, I can see that I have a Jira ticket created for my failed run. I have a bunch of metadata related to it. And the next thing up, we're going to do that, okay, we are logging a ticket, we're logging an issue, then something fails. The next thing up for me is how do we go about and fix it, right? Now, in this case, it's fixing a bug. It could be a new feature, or it could be a bunch of things. So I'll go back to the Paradigm UI now. I'll go back to the editor. So in this scenario now, what I want to do, if you touched my use case here, is I want to use the DinoAI agent to help me fix or debug this issue or the pipeline that we just seen failing, right? So a couple of things happen. So the first thing now, I have this option here with tools. I can select Jira as a tool, and I can paste my first prompt. I want to say, hey, I have a production run that failed this morning. Details are in this Jira ticket. Can you help me resolve it? So there are a combination of two things happen. So the first thing is we are explicitly telling the agent now some additional tools we want the DinoAI LLM or agent to use to resolve my issues. And also I'm providing a Jira ticket ID or issue ID. You can provide that through just custom-based URL, as I'm doing now, or we can sort of like provide the exact Jira issue keys. So I can go ahead and press enter, and let's see what happens now. So a couple of things we'll be looking at. First of all, our new tool and integration with Jira, meaning that I can, the DinoAI agent is asking me to access the Jira ticket, and I can accept this. And as a result, we're going to start bringing more context from Jira itself to start defining what the issue is, right? So one thing I'm saying here with the way is that I can see, okay, let's try this again. Okay. So it will try and access the Jira ticket for me, and it will go about how to fetching metadata from the Jira ticket. And as a result of that, we'll go through this workflow where the agent will try and fix whatever problem I have in place, right? So it's finding some issues and problem with my run. And the first thing we have to do is I'm on the main branch, so I need to check out the branch and start working on like a fresh state, right? So it's now exposing the new tool that we're launching in Paradigm, which is a terminal tool. So what this means is now the agent or DinoAI is able to suggest commands, whether those are git command or whether those are a dbt command, and actually run these things for us. So the first thing it's doing now is actually checking which branch I'm currently on. Okay, it's finding out that I'm currently on the main branch here. And now, based on my rules, so what we do is we want branches to be created using the Jira ID issue key, so we keep track of changes that we make to a code base. Is also going ahead and suggesting a branch name. So it's now again suggesting the branch name and the command to create a branch so that we can start doing our work. Now the next thing up is start looking at what needs to be fixed, right? So it's finding now based on the issue that we had, and there was an incorrect identifier here, and a couple of like problems with my model there. So it's actually going here, and I'm just going to show here, finding out what is the actual problem with the model, finding out a way to suggest and fix the model as a result of that. So what I'm expecting now is the agent will autonomously go and find one by one all the models and test them also as a result. So that, again, is suggesting now another command here, which is, okay, let's try and run this model. Let's see if this is fixed now. Okay, and again, we'll move forward. So it's literally guiding me through all the different steps to sort of like fix the problem that I had in place, right? So it's also now say, okay, well, we're done with these changes now. Let's go and commit these changes as well. So I can go ahead and click on accept here to make these changes and commit them. So you see how I've been kind of like able to go through this step by step and fix my production pipeline issues, right? And it's also providing now a summary of what are the issues and what the agent ultimately went on about and fixes. So the next thing we want to do is sort of like pushing these changes, right? So we want to go ahead and say, okay, let's do a git push here. So I can just go and say, okay, this is great. New push my changes. So again, really guiding us through what are the select different steps as part of our lifecycle. And again, particularly if somebody is new to Git, this will help a lot in streamlining the process of working with Git workflows in general as well. So again, run the command for us, went on, and it was like, hey, you also want to go ahead and create a merge request as well. So I'll skip that for now, and I want to kind of cover a couple of more use cases. So what we cover so far is how we can use the Jira tool or the Jira integration to fetch additional metadata into our DinoAI chat panel right away, so that we can inform the DinoAI agent to fix stuff for us, to potentially create DBT pipeline, creating models. Really, it's all up to us, and what, of course, is inside the Jira ticket for us to extend the context that is available to us, right? So that was one, and also we cover how the agent it's able now to understand branches, to suggest creating branches for us, running DBT command. All these things that, again, I didn't have to kind of touch or work out any of those things myself. So I was quite fully guided by the agent. The next thing that I want to walk you through now is another agent, actually another integration that we are very, very, very excited about it. So if we put this into context as LLM have a certain degree of knowledge, they train over a certain amount of information on the web. But sometimes we want to have the ability to fetch and understand more what is available today on the browser. We want to actually work almost with a compiler that can help us understand concept. And to do that, it's very important that we have a sort of like, I would say, a live connection to the browser itself, like something that we can use the agent to fetch additional information and help us getting through what we're currently working on. So I'm going to click here and start a new chat first. And now I'm going to paste my new query I have, right? So I want to learn about this unit test, which is a new concept, something relatively recent within DBT itself. And I want to get some more intel and information on how this works. Now, within our tools, we have a new option, which is Perplexity web search. So we now integrate Perplexity within DinoAI, so that not only you use Claude as an integration for our lab, but actually we can make Perplexity search AI searches, so that as a result, we can actually get live information, what is currently available. We can get use cases from actually Google searches and summaries on how things work in general. So I can go ahead and press enter. So what will happen now is, as a result, we will be using the Perplexity integration we have to generate a query. And on the back of this query, what we're going to get is a set of references that we can look up for as well. So again, this is now live. It's not relying on the LLM to come up with its own idea, but this is actually giving us references to real use cases. So it's going to come up with a bunch of links to the DBT help docs, other use cases, an example of how unit test works. So I can actually go here and click on any of those reference links to see the full form documentation of unit tests, for instance, or data tests and schema tests. I can watch videos, for example. So all these things that can inform me to understand more and better how I can work with DBT. And of course, this use case is about DBT unit tests, but you can technically use this for anything like. So whether it's that you're learning new Git concepts, so it becomes your companion completely end-to-end, not only to generate code anymore. It also came up with a bunch of example that I can follow through here about unit tests. What are the key components? How do they work? And so on and so forth. What is also exciting about this now is that, let's say, we can marry and merge this experience of using Perplexity with existing tool that we have as part of Paradigm, right? So let's suppose that I'm happy with my learning. I'm comfortable that, yeah, unit test is something I want to implement now right away within Paradigm. What I can actually do here is I can add another prompt. Okay, let's add unit test for this model, right? So I can go here, use our iterate as context to define a file, a set of files, a set of SQL model that I want to work with, that I can use to effectively generate more code, right? So I can go ahead and press enter again. And now what I'm expecting is that our LLM, our agent, is going to go and understand more about my project, more about my model, have a real life sort of like example in place about unit tests as well to work with, so that as a result, I can start working with unit tests, which is a pretty new concept, and I can actually work alongside the agent with this. So let's see what the agent is going to come up with right now. Might take a few more seconds to generate the YAML file for us. And again, I can actually bring into my workflow additional relevant, up-to-date information with references that I can consult at any point in time as part of my development lifecycle I have. So I think this is super exciting for us to partner with Perplexity to provide this additional layer of knowledge to our agent. That's pretty cool. And we see a lot of value into being able to use such functionality within the Paradigm interface. Again, you can actually consult and be your companion. Think about code reviews and bringing additional information back into Paradigm from potentially Medium post, right? Nothing stops us to bring that in. So this is from Perplexity itself, and we can see here now we have our new unit test file. Written in YAML, following the standard for unit test in DBT, something very specific to DBT. It came up with its own set of assumption on the data that it's testing. And here is where we can bring more, right? So we could have a PDF that we can pass as additional context and has examples of what our business logic are, or we could actually build another Jira ticket that maybe has more detailed information around what kind of unit tests and what kind of edge cases that we want to test for. And again, super simple. I can go ahead, click on accept, and here we go. We get a bunch of unit tests now applied there as well. So yeah, this is, I'm really, really excited about Perplexity integration. I think it's super powerful and it opens up a lot of use cases. The last thing is generically about web search. So Perplexity uses the Perplexity API, adds an additional layer of knowledge and understanding of what's available in the browser. But we also find out that a lot of time our users, they're using our chat to ask things about our help docs, okay? Which is very, very interesting. So they use DinoAI not only to build things within DBT and Python and Paradigm, but actually to ask about help docs and information about how to set things up in Paradigm itself, which I think it's super fun. So what we build separately is an additional tool called web search, okay? And here, again, I can actually ask anything I like pretty much. So let's say in Paradigm, we have this feature called column level lineage. So I want to know how I can set this up for me. So I can go ahead and use the web search again here. And now this is going to fetch a bunch of relevant documentation from Paradigm itself, and effectively from the browser in general, on how I can set up column level lineage, what use cases are there. So really, again, helping me in my day-to-day to extend the capability of my repository and my DBT project as a whole. I can see, okay, we have data mesh set up for Paradigm, column level lineage documentation. How does it work with Looker? Like all these different type of information that probably we will not want to spend time on reading through detailed help docs, but we can get like a nice summary with all the details we need to set up an additional CI in Paradigm itself, right? And then if I want to, I can actually go ahead and click on this link to go to more detailed information about use cases and how does it work, and how to get this this great PR comment as part of our CI process to understand what are the changes that can be impacting my BI tools as part of my PR reviews, right? So yeah, super excited about these use cases. I'm sure that we uncover more as we go along, but we see by merging your code base, your repository, your data warehouse context with the places where we track our work, which is Jira, we are actually now building this end-to-end lifecycle. I can actually create Jira ticket from our webhook integration that uses Jira ticket details as part of my DinoAI agent experience, and actually fix my code in a pretty automated fashion. So yeah, that's all for demo. We have a few minutes. Yeah, we're happy to chat more about what's possible, and if anyone has questions.
Thank you, Fabio, for the demonstration. And like Fabio said, if you have any questions, just add them to the chat and we will answer them. And Fabio, what I found interesting about the new Perplexity integration in DinoAI is, so when you asked it specifically about this documentation on CI/CD, is it just pulling only the relevant pieces of documentation? Like, does it have the context of what you're working on in your project, therefore only pulling the relevant information?
It does, based on my conversation, right? So as I've been working and asking questions of building certain part of my project now, because that's part of my history, Perplexity will feed that the way how we compute the query will be also including the relevant context of the current work I'm doing with DinoAI.
Okay. So in a perfect world, someone won't even have to look directly at the DinoAI documentation. They can stay put in the editor and get a lot of the information that they need rather than context switching.
That's right. I mean, technically speaking, you can probably also search what kind of recipe you want to cook tonight at home. Maybe you can ditch completely your Claude or ChatGPT subscription.
So, I guess one of the benefits of Perplexity would be that the information is already collated and summarized across various different sources. So, like in a typical Google search, we would go make a Google search. We have 20, 30 different links to kind of go after one link after another. The benefit of having Perplexity in the mix is that what you're getting is a very well-defined summary of information. So you get to the knowledge that you are after fairly quickly, rather than having to peruse through many different links and web pages, right?
That's correct. And also, I think the addition to this is that, as we know, LLMs can be trained to do different things, sometimes better than others on different type of tasks, right? Now we know that Perplexity is purpose-built for research. It's probably based to understand the browser, understand articles and knowledge in general. So by using Perplexity for this type of task where we want to learn, we don't want to go and code right away, is extremely powerful because we get the best possible response to certain type of tasks which are related to learning.
So let's take an example. Let's say I am analytics engineer. I'm building a multi-touch attribution model based on Google Analytics data. I'm kind of new to multi-touch attribution, and I want to do a little bit of research on what are the latest algorithms that are out there. Perplexity would be exactly what I need at that point. I get all the research available there, and then I can instruct DinoAI to kind of pick up that research and start writing SQL around that research.
That's totally correct. Yes. So it allows us and allow DinoAI to have a live, up-to-date understanding of what happened today in the world, of what is available in terms of data practices, of a more up-to-date SQL engine capabilities, right? With standard LLM and standard, Cloud 3.5, you always have to deal with the problem, or at least sometimes a limitation, that LLMs are trained up to a certain period, right? And then we're waiting for the next version to be launched so that we get up-to-date training. But also, I think what I think is very powerful in Perplexity is the fact that you have references, right? So as part of the process, we're also going to go and look at few articles on how people have implemented this. It's not just about generating the responses, but also learn and understand more of up-to-date information.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I think the real power comes in, like, okay, I have a Jira ticket that says, hey, we need to build last touch attribution on GA4 data. GA4 data is in Snowflake, and I don't know how to do last touch attribution that well, or I want to make sure that I'm kind of taking the latest and greatest thoughts into account while I actually build that model. Now I'm able to bring all those things, all those knowledge together into DinoAI. I have the context of my Snowflake or BigQuery warehouse. That means I know how the GA4 data is structured. I have the context of what are the formulas I need to implement. I can bring in Snowflake documentation if I wanted to, using web search. And now I have all of those things at my disposal to help me guide in building something fairly quickly up and running without having to spend too much time in research.
Totally. I think one of very exciting use cases as well is, I'm sure we all work with Salesforce data or Stripe data and some of these other third-party applications, right? Now, there are changes, there are schema changes, there's new fields that are added to some of the data that get ingested. How do you access that information on the fly as quickly as possible? Well, now with Perplexity integration, then yes, we can actually go and say, hey, I have this URL, or I'm looking for this specific documentation of how this Salesforce column is described and what is the actual meaning of it. So that it helps you on the development side, but also you can use the information to document your model down the line.
Thank you, Fabio, very much for the demonstration. Next week, we're going to be at Data Council, so we're going to learn a lot more about what AI capabilities are out there, compare the AI capabilities of DinoAI to other people in the industry, and I'm very excited for that. I'm really proud of what we built with DinoAI so far. And following that, we will have another live stream in about 2 weeks. So thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.